I picked up this vintage wedding dress recently, and at first glance, it didn't look too bad. The top looked fine. The underarms actually looked to be in good shape. But then you look at the back and there's a broken zipper, not a big deal. But then at the bottom of the dress, I don't know what happened to this poor girl. I'm thinking that somebody washed this dress before. Because it's not just a couple areas of the hem that are this frayed. It's literally the entire hem in all the layers was that frayed. So I'm starting off by trying to figure out what this kind of chiffon-like material is. And it's not a nylon or a poly. So I don't think it's silk either. So I'm going to assume that it's rayon, which I've never actually had a rayon sheer fabric like this before. But just in case it's silk, I'm going to proceed and use retro wash. The dress, as I said, didn't really have much for staining. The underarms were in good shape, so it just needed a general washing, even though I think it had been washed before. So I just started with lukewarm water and filled the bathtub about halfway full and did 2 tablespoons of the retro wash. Now you can see here, the water is not turning very yellow. So this does kind of confirm my suspicion that somebody had washed it who knows how long ago, but I think this has been washed before. So you just have to be very gentle with it. You don't want any of the lace or anything to tear any further. So I let it soak for about an hour and then drain the water and then fill up halfway again and then just do regular water for a rinse. And then I have this mesh drying rack that works really well that I did another rinsing with. Put it in a towel to get some of the moisture out, and then I gave it a little stint in the sun. So now out for that old zipper. So I could have just stitched it back in, but it was kind of sticky anyway, so I just decided to replace the whole thing. And I found a matching one. Had a pair of vintage pinking shears that I used to neaten up the under layer that was completely frayed. And now to try to tame that unruly lace, I did a spray starch and used some tissue paper underneath, which was a suggestion from a follower. And then I did the repairs on the largest areas and then did some trimming on all those frayed edges, which really did help. But I still felt like it still looked a little ragged. So then I decided to go over the entire hem with this tight and narrow zigzag to kind of finish off, and then I retrimmed those edges. And so now I'm going to do one more round of starch just to kind of get this crisp and back into shape again. So here's where we started. This was that crazy, bedraggled, really rough shape hem. And here it is after. I am really pleased with how it's turned out. Yes, it was a lot of work, but in the end, I'm so glad I did that extra step of finishing the edge and then did all that trimming and the starching. And the color-wise isn't a huge difference, but it did brighten up a little bit. But then here I decided to add a crinoline underneath, which was done quite a bit back in the day. And look at how pretty she is. I think it is just so lovely. I really love that simpleness of it, the modest neckline and the long sleeves, just a little bit of glimmer on there, and the pretty little details, just a couple little bows with the little overlayer skirt, and all that lace is finally back to presentable again. So now this mid-century gown is ready for another special day. Thanks for watching.